All right. Good morning, everyone. My name's Chad Lanman, account executive here at eGroup. Thanks for joining Teams Tuesday, March 23rd, talking about the different features and functionality and applications that you can extend Microsoft Teams to throughout your, daily work, or what your end users are, the type of extensions that they're leveraging on a daily basis to be a little more productive and efficient with their time. Quick round of introductions here as far as who we have on the call. I just introduced myself, Chad Lanman, account executive. I've been with eGroup 10 years now, and cover a number of our clients here in the greater Charleston area down to Savannah, northern and central Florida. And we also have Mike Carter, founder and CEO here at eGroup. Mike, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, good morning, everybody. My name's Mike Carter, and for over 20 years, I've had the great privilege of helping the world become a smarter and more productive place by supporting the amazing team here at eGroup. Glad to be with you here.
Thanks, Mike. Yeah, so we'll talk a little bit about what's new. There hasn't been a ton of updates since our last Teams Tuesday, so we wanted to obviously keep this on the calendar and kind of take you through a day in the life of not only an executive leader, but also, an account executive, a sales rep, to kind of show you how we're using Teams, and it might connect the dots for some of your end users. We want to keep this pretty informal, so feel free to ask any questions using the chat function as we go throughout, and we'll try to answer those as they come up, and then we'll wrap up here. So we went through a quick introduction. As Mike mentioned, 20 plus years delivering successful outcomes, and for our customers, we're a privately owned, debt-free business with national and international customers, over 350 customers across the East Coast and the United States, with a focus on legal, higher ed, manufacturing, logistics, healthcare, and financial. So as far as our today's topics, I mentioned the use cases for executive leadership. So we're going to start there. I'm going to turn it over to Mike. He'll go through the use cases that he wants to highlight and how Teams helps eGroup be more productive and efficient in collaboration. And then I'll take us through the use case for a sales representative and account executive. And then we'll touch on some upcoming features and hidden gems out there for upcoming features and releases with Microsoft Teams. So Mike, I'm going to turn it over to you to start sharing your screen.
All right, let's see. Make sure that's where we need it to be. You guys got that?
Yes, sir. Looking good.
Awesome. So, answering the question, how does an executive use Teams on a daily basis? I've got a good use case that I'd like to run you guys through this morning. But first, I think it's important for me to set the stage a little bit and tell you a little bit about eGroup from my perspective. eGroup, we're a smaller team that delivers big impacts and outcomes. We accomplish our mission by delivering what we call speed and certainty with cloud and data center solutions. As Chad mentioned, we do this for over 350 customers across more than 40 states and several countries today. We are, by design, an incredibly distributed workforce that is comprised of what I like to say are very smart people who know how to get things done. And as you can imagine, company culture and collaboration are at the center of our success. And therefore, Microsoft Teams is at the center of what we do and has almost become our virtual office, even when we were working in one, the good old days. So thinking about that, right, my role in our virtual office is built on three primary responsibilities that I'm ultimately accountable for, and these are employee engagement, customer satisfaction, and company profitability. Now, each one of these is important. However, from my role, they're kind of ordered in the exact priority of my focus, meaning I can't have a sustained company profitability objective without customer satisfaction, and consequently, I can't have sustained customer satisfaction without engaged team members. In future sessions, if my team allows me back, I'll show you how I'm using and extending Microsoft Teams to support our work around customer satisfaction and company profitability. But for this morning's session, I wanted to zero in on my highest order priority, which is engagement. So before I jump to that, I should probably acknowledge how amazing Microsoft Teams has been as a platform for communication, collaboration, content sharing for a team like eGroup, especially against the backdrop of last year and kind of current world events. Chad is going to walk you through some really interesting extensions and ideas that you should consider as part of your deployment. But oftentimes for a guy in my chair, the biggest differences can be rooted in some of the smallest changes. So I want to show you one area where we at eGroup have extended Teams to support our culture of team member engagement. And that it really starts with a belief. In that belief, my belief is that high-performing teams, the most engaged teams, should have ample time off to rest and recharge, right? It's a highly creative work environment that we're in. And so this has kind of led to one of the great perks of our culture, which is our open PTO policy. And what I mean by our open PTO policy is that there are no caps to the amount of time that an eGroup team member can take. It's a well-earned reward for delivering at the highest levels in the achievement of our goals. It can be overwhelming to track, though, and for courtesy's sake, and by courtesy I mean really not bugging people while they're out of the office, we've created a simple request, approval, and scheduling application and extended that into Microsoft Teams. So it's a workflow app built on Microsoft Flow, now known as Power Automate. MPA is a process and task automation tool that creates automated workflows that kind of connect different apps and services. In our case, it is harnessing SharePoint, email, and Active Directory, kind of three elements of the Office 365 suite. And we've brought it all into Microsoft Teams as kind of a connector of connectors for a simple experience, which makes my job extraordinarily easy. So let's walk through it real quick. So simply put, it originated there's a SharePoint entry screen, and you can see that, you can submit this PTO request via SharePoint. We collect some basic information about that request, kind of times requested, some comments if they decide to add those. Moving on, once submitted, one of the things that's really kind of nice is we leverage the manager attribute on a user's Active Directory object. And so then the workflow app will retrieve that information, and then the request gets routed to the right person for approval. This is how it looks through email. If we move forward, the extension within Teams, this is how it looks through the approvals notification and trigger element. This is great for me because now that Teams is really superseded my use of Outlook on a daily basis, any opportunity to stay within Teams means I'm responding to my team with speed and certainty. And we all know that high-performing teams expect high-performing leadership approval, and certainly when it comes to PTO requests. Moving on, this is a nice aspect of kind of that Teams and approvals roll-up. Is it almost acts as a little bit like a flight data recorder view, where I can see pending and past approvals. So super helpful to know, what I've approved very quickly, especially when I'm trying to determine why, someone I'm expecting to see isn't on the same Teams call that I am. Now, once approved, I get the same dual view in Teams regarding the updated status of the request. Again, I don't have to leave Teams. This is a tremendous time saver for me and allows me to respond at the highest levels. And finally, for super easy review of kind of who is where and when, we've brought our SharePoint-based calendar view of the PTO list into Teams as a tab on, at least in my Teams, on a pinned all hands chat, where I can quickly understand who's in and who's out from a PTO perspective beyond simple present status. So really, ultimately, the same speed and certainty we promise to our customers is the same speed and certainty my team expects of me when approving these PTO requests. And as I turn it over to Chad, I think what I'd like to, just kind of end with is that the idea of, PTO request approval workflow, nothing new, but it's such a simple but elegant piece of functionality that's certainly saved me a lot of time and enabled me to be my best when supporting the team, as well as not bugging them when they're out. So thanks for that. Chad?
Yep. Mike, that's one simple use case, right, of automating business processes with Power Automate. And I'm sure that we could touch on a number of others at some point, right? So it's a great tool that is definitely at your disposal when you have the Microsoft 365 elements in play. So go ahead and transition over here. Okay, so just kind of looking at day-to-day use case for your sales team. Want to touch on that, like, what is the, daily basis use case look like for a sales rep? And I use Teams. I'm probably in Teams more than any other application. I'm just going to take you through how I kind of structure my day and what kind of applications and extensions I use, and it might connect some dots for what your sales team's doing today as well. Let me just share here my actual Teams screen. So, okay, so it should be shifted over to, you're actually seeing the Teams interface now. Typically every morning I'll have some chats that have occurred, after business hours, where maybe I didn't respond or just left it unread. So it'll be a reminder. I'll usually click into my chat, window to take a look at, the unread chats that I had from the previous day. What does it look like for project updates, things like that, right? I'll then go into Teams, which I'm sure a number of you are using the Teams to establish, projects or whatnot. This one here is what we call our shout outs, or, shareable, I guess, recognition for different team members, where you can tag general, which sends a notification to the folks that are within that team, that there's been a new post, right? It helps cut down on email, something that everybody is typically after. Calendar, I'll look at my calendar for the week, understand, where I have free time, what does my day look like, and plan out accordingly. So I definitely use that rather than kind of going back and forth between Teams and Outlook. I do make a number of calls from Teams itself, right? You have all of your contacts here. You can make, look at your history, your contacts, and make quick calls to others right through Teams. I'm sure a number of you are already doing that today. Files, right? So, what are your most recently accessed files? I mean, they're right here. Rather than kind of clicking through your file share or OneDrive, you have access to these immediately and can, reversion them and share a link through OneDrive to your teammates or your, extended project team. Another item that I use is OneNote, and OneNote is I'm using this daily for almost every conversation we have to notate different requirements, processes throughout our projects that we're working, that we're trying to move forward, and use the different tabs to track different clients and different projects. So that's a consistent use case there, and you have access. Obviously, you could open this into the desktop app or into your browser. Then it syncs to your applications on your phone or wherever you are. So very convenient there. Some of the extensions, right? So that OneNote is slightly an extension, being part of the M365 suite, but look at some of the other applications that are out there. Zoom, for example, a lot of organizations that you might work with use Zoom rather than Teams. So let's say, for example, you have a Zoom meeting, you can access that right from your Teams interface. If you have a Zoom account and you wanted to connect on a different platform, you can click the little camera right here and schedule a Zoom meeting right from Teams. It's pretty nice how the integration and the extension is there, right? So even if you do have a couple of different collaboration tools, you can centralize and simplify into the Teams interface. Another access or extension is YouTube, right? So let's say I want to send we have a YouTube channel here at eGroup where all of our legacy videos are archived essentially. And, I can easily find one of those and send that to, the chat feature either internally or to an external resource. I have a couple of clients that we use Teams to communicate with on a daily basis. So that we have this Teams Tuesday here today is probably going to be recorded and not only archived to our website, but also to our YouTube channel. Let's see here, another extension, which is within the Microsoft M365 suite, is Insights, which I find valuable because it'll not only highlight who you collaborate with most often, but it will catch some of the action items that you left off, in email or calendar. It's funny here, the coincidence that I guess I need to schedule a one-on-one with Mike coming up here soon. But let's say this is coming from Outlook, where we discussed connecting. Jeff Thomas and I discussed connecting at 11:45 a.m. and just different follow-ups. It helps prioritize where I left off in email and helping prioritize my day. So sometimes I'll look at this and I'll go back to my calendar and try to organize accordingly to manage my time best and be as efficient as possible. One other is Microsoft Stream, which is another area that we record some internal videos. Maybe it's an internal quarterly business review meeting where I didn't get to attend personally, but I can come in here and view a recording. As you can see, we also have a couple customer video testimonials that I recorded from my desktop, I don't know, 6 months ago or so, and those are added to my watch list. So you can go through your library of recordings and Stream, add them to your watch list, access them directly from Microsoft Teams. So another way to really simplify your day. You have access to a number of different applications. I believe there's over 600 applications that are now integrated within Microsoft Teams. You can basically hit the ellipses down here in the Microsoft Teams, search for the app, and then add it. It's very straightforward. Mike mentioned approvals with PTO, so we have that built in and with Microsoft Power Automate, but you also have access to your approvals right here for for PTO requests and things like that. So another way to centralize the administration and time management of your day, and very effective. So what I'm going to do here is switch back over to PowerPoint and take you through some of the upcoming features that we're really excited about and can kind of put those on your radar. Just give me a moment here. So what are some of the features that we're most excited about? Teams Connect is a powerful way to basically share channels with external resources, similar, to like Slack Connect. I know a number of folks have mentioned that they use that Slack Connect in their day-to-day. So we wanted to kind of bring that to the forefront on one of the features that is coming out in 2021 here, as well as just basically the external ability. So when we're working a project, typically it's with a number of different manufacturers, software, hardware, sometimes maybe even another consultant or engineer, but the ability to extend teams, channels, and collaboration to external organizations is very powerful. And again, can cut down on email, can increase the ability for your team to respond and to move projects forward to deliver successful outcomes. I want to touch on the difference between teams and teams within Microsoft Teams and channels, right? So teams are the group people brought together, for work or projects, common interests, as it states there. And then you can build a separate channel, as you can see the screenshot here, where we have a number of different Office 365 projects within our Office 365 team. So what we do is we tag a number of our Microsoft cloud engineers into that Office 365 team, and then we have specific channels that are broken out for each project, and then we kind of share ideas, best practices, answer questions, things of that nature in that manner. Another upcoming feature that we're excited about, access to a personalized view of apps and contacts. So this enables you to get a more personalized, familiar experience from the tools, and it enables you to include a Who tab, which allows you to search for people in your contacts very quickly. Finding resources as you need throughout your organization can probably be extremely beneficial for those in the large enterprise. Again, guest access, we talked about the external connectivity of Teams. This is, for chat, as well as the ability to connect with individuals just outside your organization, chat, or extending teams and channels. Access to files offline on mobile devices. I think of this as an incredible value. Once everybody's back out traveling again, you're on a flight, you don't have connectivity, but from the Microsoft app on your phone, you're able to access files offline and modify those that will then sync to your laptop and other devices once you gain connectivity. And finally, we talked a little bit about approvals, which is fantastic to get results quickly, to check on status, to minimize the time you're spending on those non-revenue generating activities for your business. And finally, I'd like to wrap up here. We're just about at 11:30, and really appreciate everyone spending the time to join Mike and myself here this morning. A number of ways to contact us. We oftentimes deliver Microsoft 365, roadmap and adoption workshops, where Teams is obviously a big piece of that, or just a customized, consulting agreement, or just a conversation to answer some of your questions on best practices around rolling out Teams and extending Teams to your users throughout your organization. Just had a conversation just yesterday with an insurance group down in Florida that they have, Slack, Spark, legacy Skype, Teams. What are the best practices to consolidate that into Microsoft Teams to roll out seamlessly to your end users and take advantage of the features that are there? Those are the conversations that we're having on a daily basis, and look forward to hearing from you soon. Hope everybody has a great day and a good rest of the week. Thank you.